So in my opinion, drums are probably the most important aspect of music production. They create a lot of the groove, they create a lot of the punch. So without good drums, your song's going to be pretty crappy. So in this video, I'm going to show you some simple steps that can help you turn a boring drum loop into a really interesting drum loop full of rhythm and punch and excitement. Now, I suggest you watch all the way to the end because all of these tips work together to help one another. Now, if you want more of these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and I'll keep on making them. But with that said, let's dive straight in and have a look at tip number 1. Alright, so this is what our simple drum loop sounds like now. Sounds alright, but nothing to rave about, nothing to write home about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you tip number 1, and this is how to add some groove and some swing and some excitement to our hi-hats. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to sidechain them to our kick and our snare. So come into audio effects, grab a compressor, drag it onto here, open this up, sidechain, and then kick on this one. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to go snare on this one, wherever it is, that one. Crank up the ratio, bring the threshold down quite a bit. Same on this one. Now let's listen to this now. As you can hear, it's got a little bit of bounce to it. Now another thing that we can do is we can add some delay, which you can see I've already added over here. I've added 10 milliseconds of delay. What this does is it basically moves these 10 milliseconds back to add a little bit of extra swing to it. Okay, so now you can add some width to our hi-hats. As a rule of thumb, the higher the pitch of the sound, the wider it kind of wants to sit in the mix. So obviously it's not like a definitive rule, it's just a guideline. So let's grab in a filter delay right here. Let's drag this onto our track. And as you can see, these are my default settings because I use this to add width. Now you can trick your ears into making something sound wider by changing the left and the right ears and making them play at different times. So I've got this one playing at 1 millisecond delay and I've got the right one playing at 10 milliseconds delay. So basically it tricks your ear into thinking there's two separate things playing in different ears. So as you can see, I've got all of these filters turned off so nothing is affected here. Now just copy these settings and everything will be fine. So let's listen to this hi-hat now. That's with it. That's without it. You can notice a massive difference there. Alright, the next thing here is we're going to add some excitement with some pitch shifting. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. We can grab our frequency shifter, drag that on here, and we can automate this fine knob, which I'll show you how to do it. Let's click A to open up our automation lines here. Click on the fine knob. Show all parameters, click on the fine knob, and now you can see fine pop up there. I'm going to load that into a second channel, and now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on some points where I want to add some pitch shifting. So now I'm just going to go like this. Let's go up here, see how that sounds. Okay, tip number 2 is add some percussive elements. Now, a great way to add percussive elements is by adding some tom rolls and then just some like weird sounds that keep the listener interested. So I'll show you what I have here. I have 2 tom rolls and a gun sound. So this is tom roll 1, tom roll 2, and then the gun sound. Now, what I want to do, I want to find the best parts of these rolls and sounds here that I want to use in my song. So I'm going to go through this and just find the best part. Whoops. So I like to start here. I'm going to put a little fade there to get rid of any clicks. Now this one, I like the end section here, so I'm going to delete this. And I'm probably going to fade out that little whoosh at the end there. And the gun sound was pretty sweet as it is. Okay, now I just need to know where to place these. So a good place to do this is basically where you have transitions in between parts of a song. So you have one here, 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 here. So let's listen to this now. Awesome. Let's duplicate this. Now, we can also do similar things. I think I put that in the wrong spot. We can also do similar things to these toms and stuff as we did to the hi-hat. So toms sound really good when they've had width added to them. So we can just copy this filter delay across from the hi-hats. Add that in here, and see how that sounds now. Now, obviously, all of these tips, they work best when they've got like instruments and stuff playing at the same time. So it helps bring out the drums. So if you want to learn how to layer some super saws, big and full and professional sounding, that sound like this. Then click up here and it'll take you to my super saw video. With that said, let's keep going. Okay, so another thing you can do to really help your kicks punch and stand out when like a drop hits or something like that is by layering them with some like a crash noise and some white noise as well. So I'm going to show you these two samples I have here. This is the crash. Whoa, that's loud. Sorry about that. And then the white noise. Now, obviously, this is too long and this is too like punchy for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a section in this crash that I like. That sounds reasonably good. Now I'm going to find a section in this white noise as well. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to I'm going to layer it with each one of these and see how it sounds. Each one of the kicks. Now you can also add some width to this as well. So let's get our filter delay. See how it sounds again. Alright, next trick isn't really like adding extra layers. Next one is more about mixing and how we can make these layers work really well together. So what I'm going to show you is how you can EQ some of these together and then how we can saturate them and distort them to really make them sit nice. So as you can see on my kick, I've got some low end rolled off and some high end rolled off. And what I want you to do, or what is a good way to make them all sit together nicely and have room in the mix, is by rolling off all of these low ends here. So I've rolled off the snare, and how I did that was I'll solo the snare so you can have a listen. Now I'll get rid of this. That's with no EQ. That's with EQ. I didn't want that low end because that low end will impact with my toms and possibly my kick. So I went through my hats and I rolled off all of these. So as you can see, I haven't done these toms. So let's click on this tom. I'm going to put an EQ up to about, a good rule of thumb is about 100 Hertz. Anything below 100 Hertz you want to cut out. This one here is the same thing. Cut this one off. Here, say 100. Now, if it's a really high sound like this, there's not much low end in it, you can basically raise this up. You can hear it kind of started affecting the sound really bad in here. So I'll probably bring it around to like 150 or something. And then go through the rest of these and do exactly the same thing. Okay, so another good way to help things cut through the mix is by adding saturation. So a snare, you generally want to cut through the mix and stand out a little bit more than everything else. So let's listen to this now. And as you can see, I have some saturation on here with Camel Crusher. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you with it and without it, before and after. So this is with it, without it. Let's listen to that in context. As you can hear, with it, it cuts through a lot better and just adds a little bit of like grittiness to it. So there is another way you can do this without Camel Crusher if you don't want to download it. And by the way, I have it on my website and you can follow it in the description below. So let's deactivate this. Let's come over to instruments and drag in audio effects and drag in a saturator. I like to put it before the last EQ because all of these saturation and distortion plugins will add some low-end grit that will impact with your sub bass and your kick. So you always have an EQ, always put it before an EQ for that reason. Now, same thing here. Let's just listen to this soloed. You can hear that's got a lot more punch and drive to it now. You can go through even your toms, add some slight saturation to those, and go through and do whatever elements you think need to be saturated. Okay, so this is the exact same drum loop as it was before. I just condensed all of this together into like big groups, and I've added a couple of little extra tom rolls and stuff in here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this without all of these layers, just the drops, the kick, the snare, and the hi-hats, and then I'm going to play it with all the layers, just so you can see how much of a difference all this stuff makes. Okay, here it is. Right, so that was without. And this is with. Well, as you can see, these tips are real simple, so chuck them in your own songs, do what you want to do with them, even like build on them and try these techniques on other parts of your music, on instruments, making things wide, narrower, whatever you want to do. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.